Good afternoon. My name is Beatrice Aslamboli, and thank you for being here as we talk about Measure Y. Measure Y is coming to the city of Coachella under the general election this November 5th. For those of you joining us in the room, we have handouts in the front and the back of the room, and they are in English and Spanish. And we also have an interpreter in the room, so if you need interpreting services, please raise your hand and Doris will come find you. All right, let's talk a little bit about Measure Y. Why? Because it matters. What is Measure Y? Measure Y is a local transient occupancy tax change coming to the November 5th ballot. What it would do is add to the city's general fund. Measure Y is asking for an increase in the maximum rate of transient occupancy tax from 9 to 13%. If the measure fails, the TOT, transient occupancy tax, remains at 9%, and the general fund does not receive additional support. However, if the measure passes, updated transient occupancy tax will generate an additional $355,000 for the city's general fund. Let's dissect what this means. The general fund. The general fund is the main operating fund for the city of Coachella. It funds most of our special services and the way our government runs. It funds our police, paramedics, fire, maintenance, library services like the beautiful Coachella Library that we're in, Parks and Recs, and general city services that the city provides its residents. It's our general operating budget. What is the transient occupancy tax? Often referred to as a TOT or a TOT tax. A TOT, a transient occupancy tax, is a tax that hotels and short-term rental owners in California collect from their guests and pay to the city. It is not a tax that's collected from the residents. This tax could be vital to funding our local public services such as emergency services of police and fire, and other recreational services like Parks and Recs, our senior center, library, and so forth. All short-term rentals in the city of Coachella must collect and pay transient occupancy taxes each quarter to the city of Coachella. Will Measure Y cost Coachella residents anything? The answer is most Coachella taxpayers will pay nothing for Measure Y. The city will be collecting this revenue from the guests who stay at our short-term rentals and our potential future hotels. In some rare cases where we do have short-term rental owners who are Coachella residents, they may have an increased tax if they do not pass that TOT rate to their clients or customers. How that works is when Airbnb has a rate of $100, they do charge a transient occupancy tax and a fee. Therefore, the visitor is paying $115 or so. That $9 is what the city of Coachella collects today. Measure Y is asking residents to vote to raise that 9% to 13%. This money would be coming to visitors from our city and from short-term rental owners if they do not pass on those fees to their guests. However, most short-term rental owners pass that tax on to their guests. All right, let's talk a little bit about how Coachella's transient occupancy tax compares to other local cities. When compared to local cities, you'll see that the city of Coachella's TOT rate has not been raised since it was adopted in 1984. Since that time, short-term rentals have become very popular, and we see more and more short-term rentals in the city of Coachella. With a proposed 13% transient occupancy tax, Measure Y brings Coachella's ordinance up to compare with other cities in the Coachella Valley. For example, Cathedral City and Desert Hot Springs, their transient occupancy tax is 12%. Indian Wells, their current tax is at 12.25%, and Indio's right now is at 13%. So, how do short-term rentals contribute to the city of Coachella? Well, as tourism is a big part of what drives our economy in the Coachella Valley, short-term rentals are becoming an essential piece of the puzzle. The city of Coachella received $800,000 in visitor spending in 2023, thanks to short-term rentals. This funding directly contributed to essential public services in our community. How is the city keeping the community informed about Measure Y? Well, thank you for being here today. Those of you who are here today, you can get informed and tell a friend. We're also going to be sending out flyers in direct mail. You may receive emails about Measure Y and how it affects you. You can also see it on our social media at Coachella, at City of Coachella. We'll also have a dedicated webpage at coachella.org. And right now you can find this flyer on the homepage of the website. We'll be hosting other community meetings like this one, and a YouTube meeting video will be up at City of Coachella 2307. So what's next? The next steps. Measure Y will come to the voters as at the municipal election on November 5th, 2024. Measure Y will need a 2/3 vote in favor to pass. If voters approve, the Coachella City Council will certify the election results on December 11th, 2024, and the new tax rate and terms would go into effect on January 1, 2025. So here's the bottom line. What is Measure Y? It's a local transient occupancy tax increase, a local TOT increase. It's a change to the TOT rate from 9% to up to 13%. It's going to be on the ballot November 5th. And what does it fund? It funds local public services such as police, fire, parks and recs, library services, and more. And most taxpayers will pay nothing for Measure Y, while the city collects the revenue from visitors visiting our beautiful city.